Hey everybody, Matt here, about to give you a rundown on my thoughts on what just went down with Tesla. A lot of announcements last night, a lot of changes in the actual company and what they're trying to do. I'll give you my perspectives on them and kind of lay out why, from an investor perspective, why could be really good, why it could be increase in risk. So just to begin, so we have the Model 3 dropping down in price at $35,000. This is one of the biggest goals that I feel like was in Elon Musk's plan to get the Model 3 down to 35,000. He laid out, certain promises when he did the unveil back in 2016 that I think he needed to do no matter what. So I think they were trying to do this in a professional way, in a way that made sense for investors, for the company to look very structured. But at a certain point, whether it was hard or whether they've been getting some of the manufacturing down, I think it was time to do it. Even if you're going to take a loss, I don't think they'll take a loss, but I think as far as the company, was really focusing on profitability in the last 2 quarters, and they did hit that profitability. I think they're going back to what their true, what the true goal is, and that is to the sustainment of electric vehicles and allowing for the increase in electric vehicles just as a whole. So imagine if that is your goal, is to change all vehicles to become electric and to have that sustainability throughout the environment, then you got to realign yourself with those goals and not look at yourself like, are you just another company again trying to accomplish making a profit. So I'm kind of glad in that sense. I think it is a little bit of a fear factor going on because the changes were kind of they didn't seem very they didn't come out during an end of quarter or a New Year's resolution, nothing like that. It was more of March 1st, here we go, we're going to lay this out. Now, again, they could have had this planned as well. They could have this all planned. I've discussed this in previous videos where there's levers, but this could have been unplanned. So, just to go over, they hit the goal, right? They're dropping the price on the Model 3 as a whole. Model 3, all the different versions have actually dropped price. The mid-range version is now dropping price to $40,000 from $42,000. And they also had a standard plus version, so a partial premium interior. They have the standard interior. And what I'm trying to highlight from these models, and what really stood out to me is, this is big. I think people don't realize this, but Tesla is not looking to be a standard car company. They are trying to be an infrastructure as a service. Now, if anybody knows about IT and anything about computers and where we're going with that, right now we have platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and software as a service. Well, what Tesla is doing is they're allowing you to pretty much buy this infrastructure. You're going to be able to buy this tool like a phone or like a computer, where now the software that's running behind that is kind of the perk. So you got to think about it like anything else. When you're purchasing your phone, you either have an Android or you have an Apple, and they have different iOSs. So that is what we're looking at here. Now, if you look at their model and how it's changed, you can see that they have actually kind of started to manipulate each model with these different types of software. So, and I don't mean that. What I'm saying is they're going to limit the software in each of these models. So as you can see, their standard now only has standards, maps, and navigations, right? So think about it like that. When you buy your phone, what if your phone all of a sudden says, well, we're only going to give you these 5 free applications, but the rest you are going to have to purchase. Now, that's hard to do with the phone because, you have all these competing developers and producing free software so that you can purchase things. But in cars, we don't really see that. So I think they have a very good idea of what how they're going to keep planning this out, and that autonomy where vehicles will be able to drive themselves is going to be a big factor in that. So when you're not just getting maybe the upgraded map navigations or some of the other stuff that they were adding to it is location-aware automatic garage door opener. Like, they're implementing throughout the infrastructure. So the infrastructure itself, the component, the vehicle, is going to have different levels that you can purchase later. So if I want to say, well, I really like standard maps, but now I want the complete, mapping that's satellite viewed, a live traffic visualization. Well, Tesla's going to allow you to purchase that. Maybe you buy a package that's $1,000. They haven't really implemented this because I don't think it's built out all the way. But when they do, it's going to be huge. Like, it's going to change the way you look at your vehicle. It's going to be another way that Tesla just starts ringing in money. So right now, imagine if you're going to put out that 35K vehicle and you're making $0, but you're not losing. Then later down the line, that person decides, I want to upgrade my technology package. I think that's where we're going to see Tesla start to ring in money without even have to spend a dollar, because it's all there. It's just all software. You turn yourself into a software company, and I think that's when investors are going to look at it and go, whoa, what? Wait, what? And then they're going to get it, and I think that's when you're going to see the stock actually trade like a software company. So some of the other things that I like and I don't like, I'll tell you, I like that they're going away from this model of service centers. So I like to think about Tesla and what really what makes it different from other companies is, like, Tesla, when you buy your vehicle, you're buying it like on a you can buy it online. I bought mine online. I never test drove it. I didn't go and ask them to take a look at it. Like, I did all my research online. That is where we're going in the future. I mean, think about in the 80s and 90s, like, you didn't Google stuff to go figure it out. You had to go to the malls. And what is happening? The malls they're all kind of closing down. You see Sears and all these other companies closing down. It's because we're kind of changing, as a society. We like to do our research. I like to go online and I like to look my things up. I don't literally need to sit in the vehicle when I have more fear actually going to a dealer and having to deal with some guy that is sitting there hounding me on how I have to purchase this and how I can't leave because I got to get this deal and what he can do to close this. I hate that. I mean, and I know there's a lot of people out there that hate it. And then imagine you are that sucker or that girl that went in there that said, okay, I'll drive it, or some guy that went in there and was like, I don't really know how to buy a car. Yeah, sure, you sound like a nice guy and I'll buy it. And then all of a sudden, your friends are all telling you, like, dude, how'd you get a Civic for $32,000? Well, I got the 4-year tire package. It's like, you don't realize how screwed you can get by dealerships. So, and I think Tesla had to begin like that, but I think they're going to change their whole infrastructure to say, here's all the information online. Go do your research. Oh, you drove a Porsche Taycan? Well, come look at our Tesla. It's all online. It's all there. Like, and you got to think as people start to purchase more vehicles, your cousin's going to have one, your friend's going to have one, you might jump inside that. Like, I don't think it's important to have these service centers, and I think they are costing money. And like Tesla does with their advertising, they spend no money. I'd really like to see them get smart on everything like that. Like, and a lot of these, a lot of these CNBC analysts are saying, like, well, you can't really sell a vehicle because people want to sit in them and, all this. I don't agree with that at all. I think a lot of people are willing to say, well, they'll take back the car after 7 days or 1,000 miles. And I think they're going to like that service. I think that's going to be a super plus to it. And we already saw it. Tesla wasn't doing so well at the service centers. Like, people were complaining because now I'm trying to call and get a hold of the guy that's supposed to show me the car, or I'm supposed to go pick it up from that service center, and I'm calling them. And what are they going to do? They're going to keep plussing up the service centers, and you're going to have 20 guys there sitting around just doing phone call. Like, they had to change their model, and it'd be better off having a model where maybe they have those phone callers all in one location, accepting those phone calls. About questions like about what they're looking at, but it's better to just move everything online. So I completely agree with this. I think it's going to save money in the long haul. I think the demand that you're seeing, they're kind of satisfying the demand issue that kind of answers the question to the service centers, what their purpose was, so that you can go look at a vehicle and maybe make a choice there. I think the demand fill is going to be filled by the affordability. So yeah, I think that's a really good thing. People are going to lose their jobs. I mean, yeah, life sucks, like if I lost my job right now, I'm gonna go find another job. Like my goal is to make my resume as good as possible so that I never rely on my company to keep me hired. Like that is all in itself. If you work at a service center or you work at one of these places, like you should already have plans to be going to college or doing something else. Like nobody's going to settle down there, and you have to understand the risk that you're taking. So yeah, so I at that end, I'm not really too like thinking, oh no, the employees, like, yeah, life sucks. If you haven't realized that now, if you're working for like a company that you're seeing like the models changing all the time where they're going more online. Like if you worked at Sears, life would suck if you're getting fired. Same thing at Tesla. Like you go back to school and be an engineer and then go do something that's going to contribute to the bigger picture. And I think Tesla, you'll see that over time is like, yeah, I really like this company. I'm going to go back and get my engineering degree. Or I'm going to go, maybe I'll be a mechanic, because they even said in some of the new news that they're going to increase. So some highlighting what they're going over. They pretty much said that they're going to increase their service centers and not their service centers, but the component that repairs the vehicles. So, sorry, I'm going over this stuff, but yeah, so I think with them increasing their service centers, where you actually get your car serviced, but by doing it, by allowing that vehicle to come out to you, and everything's going to come out to you. Your car's going to come out to you when you purchase it. Your vehicle's going to get repaired by a vehicle coming out to you when you purchase it, and that model is just so much better in my eyes. So, well, there's a lot of plus side if you look at the brighter picture. There's also the fear that this whole model, it's very risky. They're dropping the price on every single vehicle, so I think there's a lot of risk there as well. I think as you're seeing, the stock is selling off. It's at 296 right now, 7.5% down. So yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking, right? We're gonna go through this stuff, and you just don't know. You don't. What if the demand keeps dropping off because it doesn't work out the way they think? Maybe they're not there yet, and they're hoping to get there, and they're having to execute this rapidly. Like I said, those demand levers, they just shot off a bunch of them. So, it is what it is. You either hold on for dear life and you hope that this works out in the way that you think it's going to execute, and you go with the idea of like, this is the infrastructure of as a service model that they're going towards, which I think is going to make them that profitable company where we see 10 times our profits. And then I think there's a downside that's been introduced that like, hey, if things stay the same too long, there could be a downside where there's not enough demand, or they're not making enough money. They're paying off this debt because the stock's not at a certain price. There's a lot of fear here. So I'm holding on. I think until I see too much negativity, where like now I'm seeing even the demand of the 35K not matching what they can produce at a time, I'm going to stick with it. But you have to also think that it's easy for them to kind of either shut down a line or something, why they might lose immediately. If they're making just what they're selling and they kept that model, I think they'd still make that 20-25% profit per vehicle, and they could just stay like that. But is that really what you're going after? Or are you going to conquer the world? Tesla is conquering the world. That's what their goal is. They're not. You don't keep the best employees in the world by saying we're just going to stay mediocre. You do it by trying to accomplish everything. So I hope this was helpful. I'm trying to get this out there because I'm looking at everybody's feedback, and you either have everybody's super excited and I'm excited about this. I think it's going in the right direction. I think sometimes you just need to execute and take the risk, and I think that's what they're doing right now. I think they're taking a lot of risk, but I also think they're getting to the goals that they need, and I think we were seeing that stagnant, like just in the middle for the last maybe 6 months. Things were just kind of normal, and that's also fearful too, because a lot of us investors are looking at this company like we're waiting for it to climb mountains. So and to see that story continue to change, and while it has a great future story, there's always that downside that like, hey, that sudden turn where they start losing money, it gets shorted there's just a lot of downside that because they're spending so much money to get these models out to Europe and Asia, and so yeah. But in the end, I think we're gonna do good, and I'd say for the next couple of months, Tesla's not gonna really move. I think it's gonna stay again until we see a couple of quarters and what those numbers look like, and then I think investors will pile back in. So I hope this helps. It's helpful, and I'll try to get you guys more videos that are a little bit quicker like this. All right, thanks. Take care.